All right, making a video. Let you figure out who that's a reference to. I haven't made a video in a while, partially because I haven't been feeling too good, and then of course I'm just getting back to work after having been on holidays for a while, doing some camping and some motorcycling, and not complaining about any of that. That was all glorious. I just had a migraine a few nights ago, so I'm still in the refractory period. And so there's lots of things that bother me about that. I sort of have this brain fog, I call it, and sometimes difficulty focusing when I'm reading. Not the optics of it, but the actual comprehension. It seems to have to read a sentence 2 or 3 times before it makes sense to me, and that's not my normal speed. I got some uncles coming to visit me later next week. One of which was here during my father's memorial earlier this summer, and another one I haven't seen since I was 14. And I just turned 47, so you can do the math there. I'm pretty stoked to see those guys. Really, really looking forward to it. I wasn't going to make a video, had no plans on it, but I was amused by something today, mildly amused, and I thought I would share it with you all because I was not aware of this before. I was road testing a customer vehicle, and they had their radio tuned to the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. It's our sort of state radio channel here, and I've listened to it in different phases of my life here and there. I haven't been listening to the CBC for quite some time now, and I'm not that aware of their program lineup. So I listened to this guy talking about how he was going to interview somebody who was raising, I'm not sure I can get through this, raising their child as species-less. And of course, they did it really well. I mean, of course, you can probably guess already. They got me, but it was satire. And they did a good job, partially because the guy was far more deadpan than I am right now. And they did a good job because they set it up as some people living on Vancouver Island somewhere in the wilderness, you know. So, I mean, it all sort of makes sense. And the guy did a great job of his delivery. So he's going to interview these people who are raising their child species-less. And he says something about the guy's name being Gabriel. And so when he gets the guy on the horn, he says, "Hello, Mr. Gabriel." And the guy, of course, corrects him right away because the labels are very important, right? Actually, my first name is Gabriel. That should have been my clue, but they both did such a good job of their delivery that I didn't catch it. I thought, wow, holy cow, this guy's clueless. And he talked about raising their child at 7 months. And then I started to get the hint when they started talking about how they didn't want to raise their child with any notion of species. They didn't want to impose that label on them, that this life force needed to choose its own species. And so for a while it self-identified with fox squirrels, I think it was. And so they built a little hut, I don't know, on their deck or something that was reminiscent of one of their burrows or dens. And but then later on, the child, whose name is Echo, which I'm not sure who gave the child the label, right? Oh, and the fellow's wife's name is Promise. The Echo started identifying with their pit bull, and so you know, he's more canine oriented. And then the interviewer asked him, "Well, how would you feel if your child ever actually decided that what it wanted to self-identify with was the human species?" And he said, "Oh, I would be disappointed if he flaked out and self-identified as human." But he doesn't think that that's what's going to happen because Echo, he feels that that's not likely, that Echo will probably identify as some other species later on, probably something that takes to the air based on his birth sign. And that's when I went, okay, no, that's too much. That's too much, even with the deadpan delivery. And I realized that I was listening to satire, which I had never heard on CBC. I mean, they've had their comedy shows for sure, but I don't recall any satirical hard news type programs. So, and they followed it up with another story about a guy who had accidentally entered a pumpkin into a apple festival, and he won because it was like the size of a beach ball, I guess. I guess it was green. And they only figured out his mistake when they cut it open and all the pumpkin seeds spilled out and everybody was accusing him of fraud and that sort of thing. It was kind of, I mean, obviously humor is great, right? And it's hard to find good humor. I may have to listen to that program a little more and see if it actually is any good because it's hard. Certainly that thing hanging on the wall, it's hard to find good humor there. And this had me chuckling for a little while. That's probably going to be it for me for a little while, at least until after my uncles are here. Maybe until the snow flies here, because you know, when I'm not working, I'm doing all the normal things I got to do around here to get ready for winter. You got to get the, you know, snow plow fired up, make sure that still runs. I put my winter beater on the road the other day. I drive a 2000 supercharged Bonneville as a winter beater. It's running about 340 horsepower. So a lot of horsepower I can't use in the winter, but I still like it. You know, and getting the wife's winter tires done and getting everything battened down here and getting the cover, you know, over the AC unit and all of the different things that have to be done to prepare for winter. So probably it'll be after the first snowfall before I start making videos again. I've got some topics that I'd like to cover. I've watched a few interesting integral math videos recently I may or may not want to respond to, and just go down some different avenues, see what other kind of shit we can disturb up in this business. So thanks everyone for watching. Have a great day.